Okay. Co-op is on.
There in a
Join.
minute. Only making cry. Man, what a great song. I haven't heard this in a long time, came on my rotation.
No, I don't think so, Ratio. Hey, Reggae, what's up? Yeah, so the reason why I said what I said earlier was I was basically on no sleep. Like last night, I may have slept for like 2 hours because I had to get up really early for a dentist appointment, and I couldn't get
Makes
to
sense.
sleep. So after a full day of streaming, I was like, I need to lay down for a second here.
Understandable.
Hey, Mask, what's up?
Alright, we got the triple nozzle.
All right.
Let's go. Only has one car? Well, oh,
No, it's a bike and a car.
this is going fast, man, let me tell you.
Yeah, this ain't bad at all. Yeah, Tomlinson got signed.
The Danian Tomlinson came out of retirement. Oh, let's go. I'm just kidding.
He's still trying to get that Super Bowl ring, man.
Yeah. Kind of sucks. People who care about championships in that sense, because it's like, Danian is easily one of the best running backs ever.
Oh yeah.
And there are absolute fucking who have rings because they were just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. That happens
So,
across sports all the time.
exactly. Like Dwight Howard, uh, if the Magic won in 2009, he would have 1,000,000% deserved that fucking ring. And he's a first ballot Hall of Famer regardless. But the fact that he has a ring for being on that Lakers squad in 2020 is just fucking sad. You know, the same way that like Gary Payton, if they actually beat the Bulls and the Sonics took it in '96, man, that would have been one of the sweetest rings anyone's ever won ever. But as Kenny Smith put it, he stole one on the way out by being on that 2006 Heat squad after he already tried ring chasing on the 2004 Lakers.
Yeah. Remember
It's like,
James
man,
Jones making the finals 8 years in a row or whatever,
yeah,
despite never really
because
being any good?
exactly, because he just followed LeBron. Literally,
Hmm.
he just anywhere LeBron went, he just went right with him, which
Hmm.
was fucking hysterical. Because everyone's talking about, well, LeBron easily he's the GOAT because no one's made the finals this many times in a row, and so like James Jones has.
There's that one year the Heat beat the Celtics in the playoffs. I can't remember what year it was. It might have been the first LeBron Heat year. I think
They
James
beat they
Jones.
beat the Celtics in the playoffs twice. They did face them in 2011. They crushed them. In 2012 was a bit of a challenge, but that was because Bosh was injured. But that
Yeah,
also had one of the greatest LeBron playoff performances in his career.
yeah. And I think James Jones had like 25 points in a game one, and he like goaded Paul Pierce into getting ejected or something.
Definitely think that was 2011 because that. Oh shit. Oh, I keep having this weird lag spike. Like every time an item gets finished, I lag, and then my camera shoots like 90 degrees to the right.
Interesting.
Very strange.
Okay, cleaning this bike is actually hard because there are so many nooks and crannies you have to get into. Like, even though it's
Uh,
small, this is actually time consuming.
it's similar with the truck. I'm actually gonna have to switch off of the triple nose pretty soon because I need more finesse to finish this.
I'm not interested in Darius Slay, really. Gonna cost too much money. I'm happy with our
Yeah.
corners as is. I don't need to spend a ton of money on a corner.
I don't know what to think about the Heat, or sorry, the Dolphins getting Jalen Ramsey because like Jalen Ramsey's good, but I don't think we were an elite cornerback away from that being a missing piece. You know,
Yeah. Well, they used their fifth-year option on Tua, so they're kind of committed to him. So they're gonna
which is
move forward assuming it.
I know I don't have a problem with Tua. You know, like he gets hurt, but at the same time he gets hurt in situations that anyone would have gotten hurt. So it's not like directly his fault. I'm not gonna blame him for it. I'm gonna blame the medical staff and the offensive line. And it is what it is. I mean, I think he's talented. I'm fine with him going forward, but that's just what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not saying we should have gone after a QB. I'm saying don't think that an elite cornerback was what we needed if we were going to pick someone like that up.
The thing
But
was, it was super cheap. The Rams had to give him away because they're like super desperate to clear cap space. So it
yeah,
wasn't that expensive.
fair enough. Well, I just my point is I'm not sure how to feel about it. I kind of just have to wait and see how the season ends up going. It's like I wasn't sure how to feel about the Tyreek Hill thing because I saw like, well, he's obviously fucking excellent, but I don't know if we're ready to compete yet. And we're not ready to compete yet, but him being fucking excellent definitely made a huge difference. So on the whole, I definitely like it and agree with it. So maybe the exact same thing would happen with Jalen Ramsey's situation. I just don't know how to feel about it yet. I'm going to wait and see.
Well, guys, I'm pretty excited. It's the biggest free agent signing that Pete and John have ever made. And, it's not big compared to some of the other ones, but it's the biggest they've ever made. That's got to mean something, right? They made a day one signing. Okay. Can't be much left now.
Handles.
I mean, trading Trey Lance right now kind of feels like you're just selling low, right? Like he's got no value right now. At least get him to a point where a team could viably look at him and be like, yeah, he's worth at least some kind of asset.
Hey, Joker, get where I'm standing?
Yeah,
Okay, look at how stupid this is. See where my water's shooting?
yeah.
Hold on. So, like, okay, never mind. Then, okay, I guess that nozzle was just fucking weird. I don't know what to say about it. Business as usual. Under rear wheel mount. Oh, this is a trike? Interesting.
Yeah. I guess Matt Gay is one of the best kickers in the league, so it makes sense that he would get the next big kicker contract. I mean, I know McGlinchey's not a bad player.
The truck's done. The truck's done.
Oh,
Come
okay.
over here. It's the bike is the last thing needs to get
Okay.
cleaned. There we go.
All
There we
right.
got it.
All right. No problemo. VFX, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. I think it's a small underpay because of the low guarantees, VFX. In terms of like the average annual value, it's appropriate. It's correct, but because it's only a 3-year deal and because the guarantee is low, I think it's actually a little better. It won't let me jump to the next one. In fact, I think my game is frozen. What the hell?
Interesting.
What about you? Has your game frozen?
No.
Uh, oh, wait a minute. Maybe we can
Yeah, I'm
do...
still in the game. I'm still looking at you.
Okay, well, I can go around, but I can't do anything on the damn menu. Like when I hit escape and pull up that menu, I can't do anything on it. I can't even scroll through the details on the items.
Now that's
Huh.
very strange because I can. What if I left?
Try it. No, I'm still... No, I can't do anything on the menu. Okay, I'm
I would
just gonna...
recommend restarting. Yeah,
Yeah.
restart your game. Ugh.
Alright, I will...
Yeah, take your time.
Well, if the Browns really offered him 20 million a year and he went here to take 17 million a year, I guess that tells you what you need to know about Cleveland, huh?
Hmm.
They suck. Okay, come on in. The water's great.
The Browns. The Browns should honestly just change their name to the Steamers and be done with it. You know, they should be listening to Palpatine's voice. Fulfill your destiny. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow, Harry got his name in the Goblet of Fire. It'd be like in the Goblet of Fire at the end, instead of showing the ritual that Voldemort uses to come back to life and get his body back, he just shows up, and everyone's just like, somehow Voldemort returned.
Somehow Voldemort returned. Oh man. To be fair, I think that's like why people didn't believe Harry at first. Because like fucking Dumbledore basically just announced that to the Wizarding World. He literally just shows up one day, says somehow Voldemort returned, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Were you able to load in fine?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in here.
Mhm.
I'm just eating a little bit. One last chicken thigh before we go.
Short Fuse 22, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. All right.
Alright. You can get started whenever.
Okay. Somehow Michael Myers returned.
That gave me a great idea. Holy shit. We're a fucking Wizards fan. Somehow Michael Jordan returned. Oh, God.
Mhm. Yeah, I need to figure out the YouTube Shorts thing, but God, do you have to do like dumb meme stuff? Because Snacks, I know you're not on Facebook, but you should
Yeah,
see the shit people do in Reels.
yeah, I know, because there's TikToks and there's Instagram Shorts too, and
Mhm.
Instagram's owned by Facebook, so it's pretty similar. And YouTube Shorts and all this. Considering that one thing that we were discussing the other day, if you wanted to expand your social media presence to get more attention, and if that's what like YouTube Shorts kind of a thing would be, and what you'd basically be able to do is recycle your content, where you'd be able to put it on as a YouTube short and also as a TikTok and also as a Facebook reel and also as an Instagram short and pump that crap out.
I'm never going to use TikTok. I know that for obvious reasons, but
Yes. But just as an example,
mhm.
there are way too many things that I know that I really shouldn't and
Yeah.
know. Oh, cool. Um, and you get to where I am. I'm at the front of the robot. To change position of the thing to clean it, when you look at the arm, you can raise it and lower it by pressing F.
Hmm. Very nice. Very cool.
I'll work on the front for now. You know that song, "Zombie" by the Cranberries?
Sure, I do.
It's a very old song. It's from the '90s. It's a very famous song.
Hmm. Okay.
It's one of the few songs with over a billion views on YouTube.
Huh. Really?
Yeah, it's the Cranberries are an Irish band. Um, they're really good. Uh, the song "Zombie" is about this tragic IRA bombing that ended up killing some innocent children,
Okay. I hear you.
and yeah, it was really bad. But yeah, the song fucking slaps, man.
You know what song I heard the other day that made me think of
What's up?
you?
What's up?
Tarzan Boy.
That is one of my favorites, definitely. That one cheers me up every time I listen to it. And that actually I should listen to it right now. Every time I listen to it, because that used to be like my trolling theme song, where when I would hop on the internet specifically to troll people, I would just listen to that on a loop.
Hmm. I wanted Draymond Jones when he was in his draft. He had the highest pressure rate out of any edge. Yeah, yeah, and he's had a pretty nice career. Remember, he's a 3-4 lineman. Those guys don't put up monster stats usually.
Oh, oh.
Ratio, I'd say Connor McGovern is near the top of the list.
I thought you were gonna say Conor McGregor.
Mhm.
I was like, we getting healthy.
Yeah, it's a fair deal, David. Pretty much everybody thought he was going to get somewhere between 17 to 20 million a year, and the guarantees are low.
Sunny afternoon.
I remember that song being on so many YTMNDs.
That's why it was my fucking trolling music, is because like my introduction to it as a song was on YTMNDs when people were also on 4chan, and that was back when they did on Habba Hotel pools closed due to AIDS.
Yeah.
And I was watching some YTMNDs where people were doing that shit, and that they'd use that as the music in the fucking in the YTMD. So I was like, oh, that's hilarious. So my fucking 14-year-old mind decided, yeah, this should be my trolling music. As I hop into YouTube comments and started trolling people. Back before it was cool.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, beta, for the most part, I honestly suspect going forward, you're going to see, outside of quarterbacks, most players not play every game. Like, because they added the extra game without adding a bye week or extra roster spots, because, doctors are getting more sensitive about when a player can and can't play. I think players are going to just, as kind of a byproduct of that, going to be expected to miss a couple games a year.
Yeah. Not only that, but guys take more of a beating than they used to, I feel like.
Or at the very least, when they do, it's more obvious.
That too.
You think Conor McGregor has IRA? What?
No, it's back in the day when you used to tear a ligament in your knee, that was a career ender. Now it's not. So guys are, you know, taking more of a whooping because they can survive more of a whooping, you know? I feel like guys' careers tend to last longer on average.
Yeah, they definitely do.
So because of that, they're taking a lot more of a whooping.
Although nowadays players are more aware of what playing does to your body. Like, Bo Jackson has said before that if I knew what I knew now, I would never have played football. Stuff like that.
Like if he knew then what he knew now, he never would have gotten into professional sports, period. Because he would have just invested everything he had in Apple. I'm just trying to intentionally be a jerk. Yeah, I get it, definitely. I often bring up rugby when this discussion is had because rugby is essentially football. Because the full name of rugby is rugby football, and the creation of American football. At first, it was rugby football, and then when they decided to start changing things around, rugby called itself rugby, and football called itself football because they wanted to differentiate themselves since it was a uniquely American idea and a uniquely American sport at the time. They wanted to not only take the claim of what is the world's most famous sport, you know, every other country on earth calls soccer football, but also to distance themselves from rugby being the inspiration for football, all that kind of crap. But the point is, rugby being so similar to football, they don't play with helmets, and they don't have anywhere near as much head injuries as we do in football. And I think it's because guys are like consciously a lot more concerned, not just in terms of as a guy receiving a hit, being worried about protecting their head, where the helmet makes you think that you're safe, but also guys giving the hit, where they think that the helmet makes you safe and it makes the other guy safe too.
Hmm.
So if football didn't have helmets at all, I think it might actually paradoxically be safer for head injuries.
Yeah, that's been a study that a lot of people have suggested over the years. Like, go back to leather helmets. People have suggested that. I don't think he did, Carson. He didn't do anything at the combine.
I'm basically just cleaning the underside of this thing, so there's no more front or back to me. I'm just like underneath and shit.
Yeah. Do you remember the gay fuel YTMNDs?
I remember the name of it, but you're talking about shit that happened.
Yeah. Those ones used Tarzan Boy a lot.
2006 was 17 years ago, so 17 years ago.
I remember the Snape killed Dumbledore. Initial YTMNDs used Tarzan Boy.
Yeah, I remember those ones too. Yeah.
I think YTMND was the thing that actually spoiled that for me. Like the initial like spoiler. At first, I was mad, but then I was like, actually, you know what? Being part of that is so funny. It's worth it. NEDM.
That was one of my favorites, definitely. It led to my actual favorite, Foot Doctor. Oh man,
Moscow, Moscow. Do, 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 do,
I
do.
remember. Oh yeah. Well, I can fucking sing that chorus. It's Moskau, Moskau, wirf die Gläser an die Wand. Russland ist ein schönes Land. Hey, Moskau, Moskau, deine Seele ist so gold. Machst ist der Teufel los. I like that one, and I also like the barrel roll remix to the Moscow theme. Barrel
That
roll,
one's
go the
great.
barrel, barrel.
I liked Stole My Bike.
Oh
That's great.
A friend of mine back in middle school made one of the best "Stole My Bikes" one because he combined it with "Cat on the Keyboard" in space. Oh man, that was good stuff.
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be starting a new game, Horizon Forbidden West, because I finally beat Fire Emblem last night.
Nice. Long national nightmare is over. I mean, yeah, good for you.
That game was pissing me off at the end, though. I can't even lie.
I wasn't really watching, so
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on.
just a lot of those battles like trick you into thinking that they're winnable, and then after you invest like an hour into fighting it, suddenly they pull something out you couldn't have predicted. That's like, oh well, this fight's clearly beyond me right now. I just wasted an hour trying to do it when I had no idea this mechanic was going to become a thing. I don't know.
Is it the game is rigged and it's like designed for you to either you had to grind more or you can only know that ahead of time, or was it literally you were designed to fail, as in for story reasons you're not
No,
supposed
no,
to win
no.
that
It would
fight?
be like you're fighting through, everything's going fine. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of like units appear out of nowhere. Like it's the fucking burly brawl in the Matrix Reloaded or something. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I
and
I
that would
hate
be
that kind of crap.
fine, but I spent like an hour going through the fight. Now I feel like I wasted all that time.
Yeah, like I hate when that crap happens too. It's not fun. What the hell is this thing covered in anyway?
Urine.
Oh no. Oh, there's my bottom.
A worst signing of the day. It does feel like McGlinchey should be up there. I mean, he's good, but he's not that good.
What was his deal?
I mean, he's a right tackle for one, which they're not as valuable as left tackles. He's not very good in pass protection. He's a good run blocker, and then he gets like $90 million over 5 years. I wasn't expecting that at all, and it seems
Well,
inappropriate.
what I like is the attention that's being placed on the fact that offensive line needs a hell of a lot more fucking respect and notice than it has been getting. And considering how important it is for everyone's success, it's more important for your team's success than a fucking quarterback, for Christ's sake. So yeah, they should be getting paid a lot. Now that being said, it should be the guy who's like actually really fucking good and elite who is getting paid, but that never ends up being the case. I mean, how many contracts did Mozgov end up getting paid better than? No.
Well,
Sometimes
Moskov
this
had
shit
that
just
game where he scored 90 points in like 22 minutes or whatever. You
yeah,
know, he
that's
got,
right. Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing. And people say that LeBron is the GOAT. I've never seen LeBron score points that quickly and that efficiently.
when David Lee scored 2 points in point 0.1 seconds, and if you average that out, he would be able to score 20 points every second.
Mm.
200 points every 10 seconds, 1,200 points every minute. How did teams with David Lee on them ever lose?
Excellent question. I counter with a lot of that. I forgot what I was gonna say. It was a boring punchline anyway. Uh, yeah, that's my overall point. I'm like, I hope that more offensive linemen get fucking paid like that. They really need to be. Um, and I completely stand by what I said. I don't think that was embellishment at all. Your offensive line is more important to your team's success than your quarterback. Way too many teams have elite offensive lines that end up competing with a guy who's a fucking stiff. He's just like manageable. A quarterback. Literally the fucking Eagles feeding the Patriots with Nick Foles as their quarterback because they had the best offensive line in the league.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
The offensive line, though, is a lot like coaching, which is to say that extremely misunderstood. People don't understand what it's responsible for and what it's not responsible for. It ends up getting blamed for shit that's not its fault. Pretty much anytime the team is bad, people say, we need offensive line help. We need a better coach. Even if you end up having like an excellent offensive line and an excellent coach, the team can still be bad because people make dumbass decisions and like really key and clutch moments. Like, I think it was Earl Thomas who did it. Do you remember that one time he tackled his fucking teammate because a dipshit caught the fucking interception in the end zone instead of going down for the touchback?
I mean,
He
that's
started trying to run
happened
it
with
out.
a lot of people, but yeah, Earl Thomas was one of them.
Exactly. Yeah, I bring that one up because it's the most memorable example to me. Plus, this is a Seahawks fans stream, so more people are bound to know what I'm referring to if I bring that one up as an example. But that is an example, is that guys will do dumb shit, and that kind of shit could easily cost your team the game. Even if everyone did everything right, the wrong decision by one person at the worst possible moment could be the difference between winning and losing.
I'm going to send you a video.
All right, I'll check it out right now. El Mal. that around.
It's an old clip, so you might not be able to completely tell what's going on in it. I'm not sure. The quality is not great. It's from like the 90s.
Giants vs. Jaguars, crazy ending. Let's check this out. Oh no, you absolute mongoloid. Why would you do that? Yeah, wow. See, exactly what I'm talking about. The Giants were playing an excellent fucking game. They were seconds away from winning, and then one guy made a retarded decision, and it cost them the game. So once the team loses, of course, everyone's going to talk about the bonehead play, but then this is going to be the opportunity for people to make hot takes too, and then they're going to sit there and say, well, you know what, that was a dumb play, but we haven't had the best season to begin with because our coach is absolute shit, and we, you know, fucking people listen to dipshits like Skip Bayless for some god-awful reason, so before you know it, everything's out of hand, and no one fucking knows anything. If your team is good, if they're winning, then it doesn't matter if your coach is shit or if your offensive line is shit. You will think that they're good because you don't understand what they're there for. You don't understand what they're doing. You don't understand what impact they have. Coaching, that applies across all sports. Offensive line is just something that is relevant to football only. But anyway, rant over.
No, it's the play where a Giants defender intercepts the ball in the end zone with like 10 seconds left to seal the win, and then his own teammate tackles him to try to make him go down, and that makes him fumble the ball, and a Jacksonville player recovers it for a touchdown
Right.
to win the game.
Absolute fucking hilarity. I'm surprised that I'm not a Giants fan because that is the kind of bullshit you would expect the team I'm a fan of to do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Can't believe the Chargers blew a 27 to nothing lead in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had a friend of mine who's a Chargers fan. He sat there and he told me, he's like, yeah, when they were up by 27 nothing at halftime, I felt awful because I knew that they were going to throw that somehow.
I do think there's a thing in sports where when you get up by too much, you can't help but relax, and then bad things happen. Like, I remember when the Lakers in the '08 finals went up 24 in game 4 and then blew that lead. And then, like, the next game, they went up by 24 as well and almost blew that lead. They were, like, within one play of losing it. And it was just like, they just can't help themselves. They just chill out whenever they have that big lead. It's better to just be up by 12 the whole game.
Hell, man. Whew.
It's over 9,000.
Alright, what the hell's left? Fan belt, front wheel hood, head casing, shoulders, claw. Oh god, there's so much shit left.
I know.
Be back in a second. I'm
What the?
take a leak.
Punch the keys, for God's sake.
Alright. Front wheel hood.
Punch the shake, for
Claw.
God's keys.
Claw wrist? What the hell does that mean? Oh.
What if the final level of this DLC pack is we have to, like, clean up a room after Tifa and Cloud are
No,
done?
I already know. I already know where this is going. Please, God, no. I get enough of that at work. We.
Kraken mascot is kind of creepy in person. I guess most mascots are when you really get down to it.
You mean the costume or the person inside the costume? I believe both. It's the cylindrical thing holding them together, and the interior of there we go.
Right. Very nice.
Ah.
On to Seventh Heaven. All right, guys. I'm gonna take a short break. See you guys shortly. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we are back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
Awesome. My fucking eyes! I just hit tab. Don't do that.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
you
Okay.
know, oh, look who's messaging us. Oh, wait, you can't see it, can you?
Oh.
Tifa just messaged me. It's so upsetting to see the bar looking
No.
like this.
No. You spoke it into existence. You know exactly why all this stuff is brown.
Uh-huh.
Jesus Christ. Alright. I'm gonna do exactly what I do when I clean the toilets at work. I'm just gonna turn on the heavy metal as loud as I can.
And fantasize about beating the people who did this to your bathroom to death.
Exactly. And just fucking pretend I'm somewhere else.
Mhm. Oh, crap. I gotta go grab something, guys. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I'll stop going
Almost
now.
forgot.
I'll go grab a drink. Actually, how much money have I got? Let me check.
Okay, back. Sorry about that, everybody. Are you there, Snacks? I think it went AFK for a second here. Mhm.
Better. This rarely happens. This is amusing. Very, very funny.
Butt is hurt.
What?
My butt is hurt.
Oh. No, I got a fucking, I got a letter from Google Pay. Literally the letter. Thank you for adding your card to Google Pay. To use Google Pay in stores, when you see the contactless payment symbol, unlock your phone and hold it near the participating merchant's card reader. If you've received this notification in error and did not add your card to Google Pay, please contact us immediately at the number. And I'm all like, you needed to send me a letter for that?
Yeah,
This is the same shit I got in an email. Come on.
yeah. I'm not a fan of that stuff. I always use cash if possible.
Yeah. I always use card. I do not use cash if I can help it, because I just hate holding on to the shit. I hate dealing with it, and I hate having to deal with change and like account for where things are. But that's because I'm lazy. That being said, I don't want to use Google Pay. Nah. I changed my mind after I signed up for it. I was like, nah.
David, that's not the cap hit. That's just the cash he's getting that year. Remember how bonuses
Hey,
work.
did you want a clean cloud sword? Because it's right where I'm standing.
The Buster Sword? Okay. It doesn't make any sense that it would be left here, though. This is Tifa's bar.
And well, wide's here.
Hmm. I do.
And then she farted one last time to set him off again.
I've known people on the internet in my time who don't get freaked out or weirded out by anything. But that story is just like guaranteed to make people go like, dude, stop.
Shit just makes me laugh because it's so fucking ridiculous. Of course, if someone was trying to read it out loud to me while I was trying to eat, it'd be a different thing. But
Hmm. Yeah, his cap hit might be closer to like 7 million, honestly. That's very reasonable. I would have loved to punch those goons right in their dumb faces. Probably wouldn't have needed any materia.
and
Tifa just
another
texted me
thing
that.
come. Got him. Wait, what?
Would have loved to punch those goons right in their dumb faces. Probably wouldn't have needed any materia. Speaking of which, you do know
Oh,
about materia and Mako, right?
what?
Mako's the lifeblood of our planet and every living thing on it. She's texting me.
Oh, very amusing. Fucking moth! Holy shit! Look at the size of that fucker.
Yeah, so apparently the Resident Evil 4 remake demo is out. I haven't played it yet, and I don't think I'm going to because I want to go in blind, but it is out.
Oh, cool.
Probably a decent opportunity for you to at least play it to see how it feels if you want to, and see if you want to actually play it or not. I'm probably going to play it either way unless it gets destroyed by reviews because there's going to be a lot of interest in it. But
There's no chance that's going to happen because, like, look, if we know how games journalism works nowadays, if the critics say that the game is bad, it has nothing to do with whether or not the game is actually bad. It has everything to do with whether or not they paid the critics the bribe money to get a good review. Now, I know that you don't pay attention to critics and all this. So I'm kind of just announcing it to the stream, but people don't like it. There could be all sorts of reasons why they didn't like it. Maybe because it was too different from the original, even if it was still a good game.
mhm,
Maybe because they don't like the way that the aesthetic looks, even though it was a good game. So there could be all kinds of different complaints that are going on that would not be relevant to your own personal experience.
mhm.
I think you should just play regardless.
I probably will. I'm saying like if the reviews come out and like it's a glitchy, buggy mess and it doesn't work and objective complaints. Like I literally could not finish
Yes.
this level because of a glitch.
Yeah, and okay, now I definitely understand that, but at the same time, Capcom's never really had that problem.
Resident Evil
Not to my
6
record.
felt pretty loose. Maybe it wasn't glitchy, but
It was Resident Evil 6, man. Like, everything about that game was wrong. Just think about things in terms of since Resident Evil 7, when they went back to the drawing board and tried to get back to actually trying to release games that people wanted to play. Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil 8, so on and so forth. Oh, there's no reason to you know, expect that they'll just phone it in again.
have Rye Guy asks, have you ever fallen asleep in the theaters during a movie? No. Usually, even if it's a bad movie, my brain will stay engaged enough to make sure I can't fall asleep. Like that's just not
Uh,
something I can do.
I have too sensitive of hearing. I have my whole life. I have extremely good hearing. So what I do is I tell people that I have bad hearing because it's really difficult for me to hear things if I'm not focusing on them or if it's not quiet enough because I just hear too many things. I just hear too much noise. So I say all that because it's not possible for me to fall asleep in a theater. Usually I got my fucking fingers in my ears because the movie's too goddamn loud. Sit as far away from the fucking speakers as I can. Fuck do you fall asleep?
The only time I've ever fallen asleep while watching any movie, period, was Treasure Planet, and that was just because I was at a sleepover at a friend's house and I was
Yeah, it's
tired.
it is a completely different thing when you're watching movies at home. I used to, I haven't in many years, but I used to just turn on Netflix for background noise while I was trying to sleep.
Now, if you did that, it would probably start playing cuties while you were asleep, and then you'd wake up and have to deal with that.
Oh Jesus Christ! Got the fucking FBI at my door telling me they want me to actually join them because I passed the test successfully. Oh, it says here you got a degree in cybersecurity. You're a fucking degenerate. Welcome aboard.
Wasn't there a Stone Toss comic like that? Where like the FBI
Uh,
were trying to like crack down on pedophile, and then they were like furries or something.
um, he's had a lot of different posts referring to glowies. Like they had he had one where the FBI are in the office. There's three agents, and they're like, "Okay, the order just came down. We need to arrest everyone who was at that January 6th rally." So then they all draw their guns on each other. And there was another one where it's like, "So, Agent Thompson, how's that infiltration of alt-right internet groups going for you?" And then he looks at the guy, and he's like wearing a Catgirl outfit. He's got a fucking body pillow with him. uh, Good stuff.
Hmm. I mean, I've seen some movies in the theater that I thought were really bad, but I never check out. I'm like, I'm here, I may as well see how this ends. Like, Rise of Skywalker was a terrible movie, just as an example. I hated it, but honestly, watching it felt like chugging a giant Mountain Dew. Like, I was actually not bored watching it. It was like, when I left that theater, I was just like, like I had just finished running a marathon almost. Watching that movie is like chugging a giant ass Mountain Dew. Saw the stupid Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie. That was fucking terrible, and I still was basically following what was happening in that movie. I just thought thought it was stupid.
It's that's another reason why I don't like fall asleep during movies like out of boredom or anything, is because if I don't like something, I just stop watching it. I'm pretty sure I told the story before that like, I will happily walk out of a movie theater and ask for my money back if I'm not enjoying it.
Hmm.
And you know, I try not to see bad movies in the first place. I've only been to the movie theaters once since 2015. That time was to go see Spectre, and the once that I've been since then was to go see the Spider-Man movie, the recent one with Tobey Maguire in it,
Yeah.
and that was just because it was my sister's birthday. She really wanted to go to the movies, so I said okay, whatever. Um, on the whole, I didn't enjoy the experience, especially because it was so expensive. But
Hmm.
you know,
I
the
mean, you
movie
could.
could have been worse,
Yeah, you could have
I
done
guess.
worse. You could have done worse.
Yeah.
At least there were some interesting things going on in No Way Home.
It's coming from a guy who loves movies and loves going to the movie theater. Back in 2014, I practically lived at the movie theater.
Hmm.
Spend most of my free time there. I mean, this isn't something you're allowed to do, so don't do it because it's kind of a scumbag move. But I was poor back then and also young, and I had gone through a lot, and I didn't give a shit. But I would buy a ticket at the beginning of the day, and then just stay at the movie theater all day,
Yeah,
just as soon
double
as my movie
feature.
was done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
double feature.
Well, no, not a double feature. I would stay there the whole day. I would watch like however many movies I had time for, basically. Uh,
JS, was very high. I really like Draymond Jones. I'm very excited about that hire signing personally. I think it's phenomenal. I'm very
Dude,
excited.
Jesus Christ, this map is huge. Like we're only halfway done with it. I feel like we've been working on this for an hour. Maybe I've just lost all track of time.
Yeah, I mean, Draymond Jones is basically poor man. Well, okay, let me take that back. He is like Javon Hargrave 3 years ago, where they're great pass rushers. They play similarly, I think. They bring similar things to the table. They have the same weaknesses, but Draymond Jones is younger, has more upside. He's cheaper. The contract is better. So I believe we've done better here than we would have with Hargrave personally, but it's the same basic idea. Like Draymond Jones supposedly is not good against the run. I don't know if that's true or not, but PFF docks his run defense grades really, really badly. They don't think he can play the run well, like Hargrave. Now the difference is Hargrave is 31 or whatever. He's probably is what he is, and Draymond Jones is 26. He could get better. He could change his ways. Have you ever? What would you say off the top of your head, Snacks, is the most like lively movie theater audience you've ever been in terms of like not just sitting there watching the movie in.
Oh, that is easy. That is extremely easy. We've discussed it a couple of times. Movie theater audience I was in for Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. The level of excitement before the movie started when the movie was starting, for the first 20 minutes, and then finally the extremely loud and obnoxious, what the hell is going on? The immediate negative reactions.
Like, I'm assume like have you ever been to like a midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show or anything like that?
I've only been to a midnight showing once, and that was actually an amazing experience for several reasons. I'll explain them now. The midnight showing that I went to was for Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince when that one came out.
Okay.
My best friend at the time had just recently broken up with his girlfriend, who was an obnoxious cunt who was constantly like, essentially just taking my best friend away from me, and I hated the crap. It was like we're kids, you know. The dude's 17-year-old. He's a 17-year-old and he's getting laid. So like, of course, that's more important to him than I am. But he just recently broke up with her because he came to the conclusion that she was an obnoxious cunt also. So I thought it was fantastic. So while we're waiting for the fucking movie to start, the audience is actually playing volleyball with the fucking beach ball just getting knocked through the crowd. So then, like, my buddy, we were sitting in the front row. He jumps up and he spikes it, and against all odds, and this is how we found out. Also, his ex girlfriend had actually snuck in there also to spy on us because she wanted to like just make sure he's not having a good time or whatever. He spiked it, and by the hand of God, it was guided right into her face. Oh man, that was a great moment.
Yeah. Have you ever been to like
Um,
the theaters for like a horror movie where the audience is like freaking out constantly?
no, lots of people were cheering during the Half Blood Prince. Lots of people showed up. They were dressed up in costumes.
Hmm.
Um, people were cracking jokes and shouting shit out. It was kind of like going to fucking stand up. You know.
Yeah. I I remember seeing The Great Wall with Matt Damon in 2016, and me and my dad quickly realizing it was a god-awful movie. So we basically just turned it into Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I think most people were okay with that.
Big, McLarge, huge. Dirk, iron chest. Beef, slab meats.
I remember seeing The Wolf of Wall Street in theaters opening day with my parents, and the scene where Jonah Hill is talking about, marrying his cousin and
Mhm.
what he would do if the kids turned out.
Yeah.
I thought my mom was gonna die. She was laughing so hard. Like I actually thought she was like in medical trouble.
One of my favorite things about this movie is just how like incredibly different it is from real life in the sense. I mean, obviously it's a movie, so there's dramatizations and stuff.
Hmm.
But when Jonah Hill's character, when he first goes to work for Leo,
Yeah.
and he's all like, "You make how much money at your job? You show me a pay stub for how much money you make, and I'll quit my job right now and go to work for you."
Hmm.
And that was literally it. That's all it took. And then all of a sudden, he's now working for Leo, and I'm all like, I wish to Christ that literally all it took to get a job was to just sit there and approach someone and say, "How much are you making? Show me a pay stub for how much you're making. I'll quit my job and come work for you right now." Like, what possible qualifications does that dude have to sell fucking stock? Like, obviously he did,
Hmm.
but it was also because it was intentionally a crook company, like they were running a scam from the start and all that kind of shit. Like I know that, but still, I'm like, holy shit, how
Yeah.
man, I wish it fucking worked that way. Holy
The
fuck.
interesting thing is the real life Jordan Belfort is even much scummier than he was portrayed in the film. Like the film almost there were moments where they're almost trying to make him to look out like a hero, like he's standing up to the evil FBI.
Yeah, that happens a lot in movies that are based on a true story, where some things are dramatized, obviously, and then other things are actually having to be toned down from how the real fucking life version ended up going. Because real life was actually so amazing, truth being stranger than fiction, that if they kept it in, people would have, their suspension of disbelief would have been shattered because nobody could believe that that was a real thing that actually happened. My favorite example to bring up is Hacksaw Ridge, where the actual story of Desmond Doss was even more incredible than the shit that he did in the movie. But they didn't include that part, even though it was part of his fucking Medal of Honor citation that fucking, the fucking President of the United States had fucking signed and shit. But they didn't include those parts because they're like, yeah, people think that we're trying to make the fucking superhero. So
Right.
I never believe
Reality is unrealistic.
that.
Speaking of Half Blood Prince, didn't you say Order of the Phoenix was the first time you saw a movie in the theater where you made out during the movie? I think you told me that one time.
Yeah, I don't remember Order of the Phoenix because I haven't really watched it, and I don't really have any desire to because my memory of that movie is that was like that. Fuck, I don't even know when. Was it?
Came out in
When
'07 or something.
did Harry Potter? July 11, 2007. So at the time I was 15. Uh, so yeah, 15-year-old me with my girlfriend at the time. That was the first time that I got action in a movie theater. So that was nice. And that's how I prefer to remember that movie because like there are parts of it that I remember definitely, but
Mhm.
a lot of it I don't because I wasn't paying attention to the movie at the time. And I'm all like, if I went back and watched that movie, then I'd know what was going on. But it'd also kind of spoil the memory because like not knowing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Uh,
why it's
yeah.
dear to me.
hmm I understand that. I can understand that. JS Snacks watched me play Hogwarts and he wasn't very interested in it, so I don't think he's gonna play it.
Yeah, it could have been a good game, if there were other things going on. If they just took more time to make it, if they put more content in, if they, if they worked a little hard to do this, worked a little hard to do that, they knew that they were going to make a ton of money regardless because Harry Potter, and bless them because they actually try to make it a good game and everything, but I just don't feel like it was as deep and rich of a gaming experience as I would have liked, and there wasn't enough there to draw me in.
I do think it's basically a combination of a shallow BioWare game and a shallow Dark Souls game, which I think works, but I do think it would benefit from maybe committing to one of those things and actually going all out into trying to make a full BioWare type experience. Preferably, I would say, but
Yeah, I like the Ron Swanson saying, which is don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
like they left some stuff on the table that I'm really hoping they address in the sequel because I know they're going to make a sequel because this one sold so incredibly well. Like, for instance, there you're playing as a fifth year student, which means you're taking your OWLs at the end of the school year, and your OWLs are mentioned a few times in the story and the game, and then you just end up taking them in a cutscene, and they have absolutely no bearing on anything. They're just like, "Oh, you took your OWLs, and I guess you passed." Okay, and it's like there's no gameplay for like taking the exams like in Persona. What you did during the game doesn't influence your grades like it would in a Bioware game. Like I wish they had done a little more with that.
Yeah, because for Harry's experience, he mentions as he's taking the exam that he and all the other members of the DA fucking crushed their Defense Against the Dark Arts owl because they had all that practical exercise in the club.
Mhm.
So, exactly. What if it ended up being something like, oh, well, I grinded the shit out of doing this, so then, my exam came and then I absolutely fucking smashed it because,
Right.
whatever. But it's a thing. I like you're talking about. I would have enjoyed it more if it was like more of a traditional RPG. Like you were saying, that it was like a combination between an RPG and Dark Souls kind of game and
Mm.
all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah.
Like maybe they should have done like the karma meter too, where the good things you do earn you credit and the bad things you do earn you negative karma, and then you can actually be like a bad guy a little bit more efficiently. Like the fact that you can use the unforgivable curses should mean something more than just, oh, I can get an easy one-hit KO on all enemies except the final boss. And nobody cares that I'm using a curse that should land me in Azkaban for the rest of my life.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. Sorry, I had to just go fucking ape shit on that moth. Fucking moths.
Yeah, when I was young adult, I went to a few midnight showings, but they didn't get too crazy. It was remember Cowboys and Aliens with Harrison Ford and Daniel
Yes.
Craig? I saw that at
Yes.
midnight. I saw there was a movie called Killer Elite with Clive Owen and Jason Statham and Robert De Niro. It wasn't very good, but I saw that at midnight, and I did Captain America, the first one, at midnight.
Hmm.
That one was kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. I liked my favorite part of Cowboys and Aliens was that they do something you almost never see in movies, where they talk about what they need to do, and then Harrison Ford's character is all like, "So what? You're just gonna run off half cocked and get killed? We need some kind of plan." So then they actually start coming up with a plan on how they're gonna fucking make this happen. I like that. That so rarely happens in movies.
Yeah, I one movie theater experience I remember was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I saw that in a theater with a bunch of old people who I think thought it was going to be like a straightforward movie about the Charles Manson murders, and they were not particularly ready for what happened at the end of that movie. That was pretty funny.
Jesus.
Like, remember the Happy Town Murderers? If you remember that movie at all.
I did not see that one.
It
No.
was like a Muppet movie, but it was rated R. It had like Melissa McCarthy in it, and it was intentionally trying to be crude and
Oh boy.
one of those. I remember there was a story once. Apparently, a lot of movie theaters accidentally showed it in front of like kids' movies because they thought it was just a Muppet movie, and it went very badly.
Oh boy.
I'm trying to remember, like the first horror movie I ever saw in the theaters was Signs. Mel Gibson, M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. I
I
don't
haven't
remember
seen
how
too
the
many.
audience was.
I haven't seen too many horror movies in theaters because that's just like the one thing I just refuse.
Mhm. Yeah, Signs was my first theater horror movie. It was terrifying, dude.
I can imagine.
Like it was like getting on a roller coaster the first time. I was not completely ready for that, but that's a good movie.
Even though it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, that still had a very, very strong cast. So it doesn't matter it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, because when the cast is strong enough, it can carry even the crappiest fucking ideas and direction, or lack thereof.
Yeah. Well, like that movie's kind of it's like the alien stuff doesn't really work, but the stuff about a, you know, former pastor who lost his wife to a tragic accident trying to find God again, like that story is actually really good.
Right. And why was it good? Because Mel Gibson's fucking amazing, and so is Joaquin Phoenix.
Hmm.
Like, Joaquin Phoenix was actually really underrated back when that movie came out,
Oh
because
yeah.
had that movie, and he recently had done Gladiator too.
Hmm.
And like
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of people at the time, they were shitting on him. They're like, "Yeah, that Joaquin Phoenix, I don't like him." Why? Fucking amazing. Give him credit now, but like he's done so much since then. So it feels like the equivalent of somebody talking about that Leonardo DiCaprio guy's pretty good when you know The extent of how much he'd been involved in, like, was just up to Shutter Island,
Hmm.
everything that he did up until then. And there were plenty of people talking about how great that Leonardo DiCaprio guy was up until then. Definitely, but like at the same time, there was like a lot of stuff he hadn't that he was loved for he hadn't done yet, like The Departed, and Wolf of Wall Street, and The Revenant, and
Etc.
Inception, and a lot of other roles that he was in that people love so much. It is what it is. Right. She's got 90 more minutes.
I honestly think none of the quarterbacks will be there when we pick at 5 at this point. I think there's gonna the first 4 picks, quarterback, 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 and then we can just take the best defensive player. I actually think that's gonna happen now.
That would actually, I would love to see that happen. For no other reason than just it would hopefully finally snap people out of constantly taking quarterbacks. Because then they'd sit there and be like, look at the fucking Seahawks. They basically had the best fucking pick in the draft because they were the only guys who didn't take a fucking quarterback. As everyone else is obsessed with this shit, they're like, that's not going to move the fucking needle for these teams. Not even a little. And then they just hand the Seahawks this fucking generational fucking defensive talent. What the hell?
Right. Oh yeah, JS, I saw you earlier in this chat talking about Drag Me to Hell, which I've actually seen most of that movie. That's actually pretty good. I kind of like that one. That's a Sam Raimi. That one's pretty fun.
Sam Raimi actually makes movies that are fun.
Yeah.
It's very rare that a filmmaker does that these days.
Yeah, it's got to be O.J. Simpson, right? It's not even close.
I have to know what the question was.
Who's the best NFL player who went to prison? Mhm. Well, what about when Tom Brady went to prison for deflating those footballs in the AFC Championship game?
Jesus Christ. Oh man, it's funny because if Matt Araiza actually had gone to prison, then O.J. Simpson wouldn't even be the best NFL player that played for the Bills to go to prison. Oh man, that's a good meme. So I gotta say, O.J. Simpson has to be like room temperature IQ for when he committed that armed robbery.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can sit there and say he was desperate, and like I get that and I understand that and shit, but at the same time, he's O.J. Simpson. There's no chance in hell that this man could possibly receive anything resembling a fair trial or a second chance or anything like that. He's just
It's like the ultimate makeup call.
exactly. It's like, dude, you literally got away with murder. Never commit another crime for the rest of your life. You already got this one. Why would you fucking do something like that? Push your luck. So like you're fucking O.J. Simpson, man. If you jaywalk, you're going to jail. Like, how could you possibly think you'd have gotten like that would have been a smart move? Plus, again, you're O.J. Simpson, so like there's no chance they're not going to recognize you. What it is, man.
Mhm. Well, Aaron Rodgers is going to fit in very well in New York when you think about it. So I think this is going to be good for him ultimately.
Oh, was the trigger finally pulled?
It's about to be. It's not official yet, but it's happening basically. Everybody knows it. They just need to hammer out the final parts of the deal.
All right. Which New York team?
The Jets.
That is hilarious. Outstanding.
Based. Localized entirely within your kitchen. You know, I gotta say, I don't think it's gonna work, but you can't say that the Waltons aren't trying. Like, they're spending money like crazy. I don't know if it's gonna work, but at least they're giving Wilson every chance to prove he can still play. They're throwing money around like it's going out of style. Yeah, regrettably, I did see the Brett Favre pick back when it happened. I was watching a video. I thought the video was just going to be the audio clip of the phone call that Brett Favre made to the cheerleader. So I was watching it, which was really listening to it. I thought it was just a still image while the phone call played, and then a picture of Brett Favre's penis pops up.
Yummy.
If that actually does anything for women, like I can understand a
Depends.
woman sending a picture of her tits to a guy if she's
Yeah.
trying to court him, but
Um.
a dick
It
pic?
it depends on the circumstances. Not in the situation of it depends on the woman, but it depends on the circumstances. Because women are like when they're sufficiently aroused and when they're appropriately aroused, a stiff breeze could get them over the edge. But you got to be in the right headspace. There's a lot of different things going on there. It's not as simple for them as it is for us, where we'll just be very visual. Where you could sit there and regardless of the circumstances, you know, if you see a nice rack or great ass out of nowhere, especially if it's somebody that you really care about. You're in a relationship with them and all this, and then they just send you that shit out of the blue, it could really fucking, set you off regardless of your mood and the circumstances. For women, it's it's a different story. If they're in the right headspace and they're in the right mood at the time, they fucking love it. That's the thing is that 99% of the time that they get it, they're not asking for it, and they're not in the right headspace. They're not in the right mood, and they didn't want it. So in that instance, it's basically the equivalent of you sending one of your buddies an image of you vomiting. It's just like, oh, what the fuck? Why? And that even applies if it's like if it is literally the best looking dick that they've ever seen ever, and from the most attractive guy ever. You could still sit there and be like, this just isn't doing anything for me because I'm not in that right headspace. Or then that shit, fucking drive nuts. But you can't just send them that shit. And that's the problem that a lot of guys that send them have is that they're not thinking about that. They themselves are horny and then they just let it go. They let it fly, and that's not the right call.
You can do what EDP did when he was trying to get that 13-year-old girl.
That right there, that is why I send Snapchats. Because they don't get saved, they get deleted after you open them.
No,
The
he,
fucking a picture of your dick is just blackmail material. That's all it is.
well, I mean, EDP was sending her pictures of his shit.
Oh God. Oh, I didn't hear that. Can't believe you've done this. Oh no. No. Toilet door. Just slightly ajar. I know where Tifa and Cloud are.
Hey, K Killer, welcome to the stream. You've come in at a very interesting time. When a girl's got a shit, a girl's got a shit.
Oh lordy.
Yes,
Oh
right guy.
lordy.
He literally would take pictures of his shit in a toilet and send it to someone who he thought was a 13-year-old girl. And
It is
he
horrifying.
considered that to be romantic, I guess.
It is horrifying. Like, lots of people have very strange kinks and everything, but you don't talk about the fetishes of a 13-year-old girl. So even if it literally was, it still comes to the point it's all like, bro, why are you doing that to a 13-year-old? How do you know that she's into that if she was into that? And like a 99.9% chance she wasn't into that, in which case, dude, what the fuck? Because then again, it's like I was saying, it's about the guy's horniness, not the girls. So he's just sending pictures of his shit to a 13-year-old because the idea of him doing that is what fucking sets him off. It's all like, you fucking disgusting slob. What the hell is the matter with you? Jesus Christ. Fucking nauseous now thinking about that shit. Lord.
I'm,
Absolutely disgusting.
I mean, in the old days, the stuff that EDP would do that was weird was like he would tell a story about how he would steal bras from women at the laundromat. And like, that's not okay and it's weird, but, it feels at least a little bit normal and understandable. And then he started doing the other stuff, and it's like, yeah, there's no part of this guy that's normal.
Good Lord. Good Lord. That candy's been brought to life through advanced cloning techniques. This man is my techno.
What it would have been like, what it would have been like seeing Titanic back when it was in the theaters back in the 90s. All the women going insane in the final act. That would have been an interesting experience.
Well, as I brought up, I saw Titanic in theaters, but I just don't remember anything because I was too young. I remember that both my mom and my sister were crying, and I was like, I don't understand why you guys are crying. And they're like, oh my god, you're heartless. And I'm all like, I'm fucking 8 years old or some shit.
Well, Rig, I don't think EDP could pass a mental health test, so he probably shouldn't. But if he could pass the mental health check, then yeah. But I don't think he would. I think he's clearly like mentally unstable and probably shouldn't own firearms. But if he could pass the test, then all's fair in love and war.
I mean, if they let Boogie carry a gun,
Yeah.
oh man.
AC Crown, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Remember going into one of EDP's streams like several years ago and like just an endless wall of super chats. Endless wall of super chats flooding in. I was like, man, this guy has the easiest life ever. He just turns on a stream, and people just throw money at him. And like,
That's
how do you blow that, man? Like, he was set for life. He never had to worry about anything. All he had to do was continue to make the occasional, like a couple videos a week and stream every now and then, and he was set. And he blew it.
well, that's the thing, is that someone who has the problems that he does will inevitably self-destruct. The only difference between him and most people is that he managed to reach a higher level than a lot of other folks do once he finally fucking went down. Like, that guy would have self-destructed even if, even if he was a bum working some pathetic fucking job somewhere. Like me. Let's see here. So, wall lantern and a step stool. Oh, that one. And what about the step stool? Short stool, kitchen stool.
So did Subway Jared. Yeah, that's another one. I guess a lot of these internet personalities do eventually go crazy and lose it and lose their popularity. Like fucking Boogie's a great example because Boogie keeps saying that I'm broke, I don't have any money. So he's gone that way too because he'll never be as popular as he used to be.
Definitely. Neon sign. Yeah, remember when he was popular because people thought that he was playing a character and then it turned out to just be him?
Yeah.
Customer shelf.
Like
Customer
who
shelf.
hasn't? Like PewDiePie seems normal. Somehow PewDiePie did the internet celebrity thing. And he seems pretty normal.
Again, I ask, what the hell is the customer shelf?
Where the hell is it?
Okay, so I think it's inside this part of the bar where it's like where the customers are at, because the
Yeah,
floor here says customer floor.
right.
So we need to find a shelf that is in this area, and it would probably be a customer shelf. But the only shelves I see.
PewDiePie's wife is a smoke show. I'm sure she is. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, he is Swedish, isn't he? And Scandinavian women tend to be pretty.
Yeah, they are. Peter, generate a 50-foot tall Daisy Ridley.
Oh, here it is. I thought Daisy Ridley was like fucking Anglo or something.
No, I was just saying the thing to say it. I was
Oh
just
yeah, okay.
mean. His wife is Italian. Okay. Well, they also have a pretty good rep.
Yes, Daisy Ridley is English.
Hmm.
Born in London. Uh, Grew up in Maida Vale, which is an affluent residential district consisting of the northern part of Paddington and West London. Youngest of three daughters, born to Christopher Ridley and Louise Faulkner Corbett. Wow, how about that? Her mother's family, the Faulkner Corbetts, were landed gentry with a military and medical background. Her paternal great uncle Arnold Ridley served in the military as well. He separately forged a career as a playwright and actor. He's best remembered for playing Private Godfrey in the sitcom Dad's Army. Interesting. Anyway.
Not going to pretend like they're normal or they're good people because they're very clearly not good people, but like the Paul brothers actually seem like they're going to make it out of the internet celebrity thing without losing all their money and all their respect. Like they're going to actually come out of the experience of being internet celebrities as, more successful people for it.
Right, and without being accused of heinous crimes in the process.
hmm Well, it was kind of
Please.
illegal for them to go into the suicide force thing. That was illegal, right?
Fair enough.
I remember when like the biggest YouTube channel was a Shane Dawson. I remember when he was like the biggest thing on YouTube. That guy's probably a gigantic mess at this point. I wonder what he's up to. I'm gonna take a short break, all right, guys? I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I need to rewatch the John Wick movies. It's been a while. Okay. All right. Mhm. Back to that thing you were saying about the Phantom Menace when you saw it in the theater. I
Mhm.
remember I had a friend who, like, several years after the movie came out, watched a bootlegged copy because he had never seen any Star Wars movie before. So he was watching a bootlegged copy of the Phantom Menace, and he said that, like, at the end, right after the movie ended and the credits started rolling, there was someone in the audience who stands up and screams, "Lucas sucks!"
That's pretty good. Um, I remember I was watching this movie. The basic premise for the movie was that a group of friends are getting ready to go see the Phantom Menace, and they really love Star Wars or something, and then they have some crazy night before they go actually see it. Sort of like The Hangover, where like getting to the wedding and stuff is like the objective,
Makes sense.
and this time the objective is getting to the midnight premiere of the Phantom Menace. So the final line in the movie is they finally make it. They sit down. You hear the 20th Century Fox theme is playing, and then one of the friends turns to the rest of the group and he says, "Guys, what if it sucks?" And the credits roll.
Yeah. An amateur film critic who I used to watch back in the day said that the day that the Phantom Menace came out, he got really, really, really sick. So he had to stay home while his brother and all of his friends went to go see it opening day. So after the movie was over, the guy's brother calls him from a payphone to let him know what's going on. And he says, "You're not gonna believe it." And at first, this guy's thinking, "Oh, my brother's gonna is being sarcastic," and he's gonna say, "You're not gonna believe it, but it was actually really good." And he's like, making a joke, being sarcastic, and then he goes, "No, dude, it sucked. It seriously sucked." And he didn't believe him until he saw it for himself sometime later.
Good.
So I went to the dentist this morning, and they have this stuff now. I guess they've had it for a while, but I've never had it used on me before. It's like this gel they put on your teeth, and it turns pink where the bacteria is, so it can see basically where your brush is not. If you're not brushing in certain areas, it'll like highlight it. It's pretty cool. I'd never had it used on me before.
Very interesting. I haven't had that used on me either because I haven't done it since COVID started. Just like many, 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 many people.
My dentist appointments have actually gone really well lately. They haven't had any issues, any cavities, any problems. Can't expect God to do all the work.
Oh, I have to ask. For this mission, did we become extremely giant, and this is like a
N-
hurricane in our hands?
No, this is
I'm just
a
kidding.
model of the of Midgar.
No, I'm just fucking with
Hmm. Oh, so you're saying we can pretend to be the 50-foot tall Daisy Ridley?
you. Exactly. Uh, already feel the computer increasing my olfactory sense by 500%.
No, John, you are the 50-foot tall Daisy Ridley.
Yes.
I don't think we get very much action overnight, JS. I mean, think about it. The GMs have to sleep too, right? They're not going to wake up at 2 a.m. and call another GM and be like, hey, want to make a trade? The GM is going to tell them to fuck off and call me in 8 hours when I'm actually awake.
Right up until you realize it's the Ravens getting ready to trade Lamar Jackson for a ham sandwich. Do you think it would ever be possible, like, for a GM to do something like this, where they say some shit like, "We hate this guy so much, we just want him gone. We'll literally continue to pay his fucking salary anyway, so that you guys can just take him. We just don't want him around."
Happens in baseball. In fact, famously, back before they won their first World Series in 2004, the Boston Red Sox placed Manny Ramirez on waivers, meaning anybody could have just come and picked him up, and the Red Sox would have still had to pay his salary. They just wanted him out of there, but nobody picked him up, so they were just like, "Oh well, I guess we're stuck." And then he ended up getting it together.
Hilarious.
I don't know if that happened.
That's
Hmm.
that's what the Heat should have done with LeBron. Just get him out of here.
I mean, if Russell Wilson has a bad season this year, I think what might happen if Wilson has a bad season this year, I think they go to him and they're like, okay, one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to just declare you inactive for every game until it's profitable for us to cut you. Like you're never going to play no matter what. I don't care who gets hurt. You're going to be inactive for every game. The punter will play quarterback before you do.
He'll be the NFL Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Or we can agree to a buyout where you waive most of your guarantees and we let you go and you can try to find work on another team. Like I could see something like that happening, but
What if Russell Wilson wasn't incompetent? He was just intentionally sabotaging the Broncos because he knew it would help the Seahawks.
I mean, it was so bad at points that you almost wonder if that was the case. You're a boy, act like one, god damn it.
You are a toy. You're not the real Buzz Lightyear. You're an action figure. You are a child's plaything.
It was nice when I was old enough to realize they were making a Star Wars joke in that scene. You are a bleep. Apparently, when they were putting Toy Story together for the first time, their original plan was to have Buzz Lightyear be more like a like Captain America type of personality. And then it was
Mm.
Tim Allen's idea to make him more like a cop. And they ended up liking that so much they went with it.
I like that too. I can't see it working out any other way. I am not crazy. I know he swapped those potions books. I know his nickname was the boy who lived, not Rue Neil Waslib, as if I could ever make such a mistake. He got that idiot Weasley to lie for him.
Get that idiot to lie for him.
Sirius
No,
Black. Are you telling me that man just happens to escape like that?
defecated. He orchestrated it.
I defecated. He orchestrated it. He was like a chimp.
Oh, Scarecrow Bar. In that scene, Buzz Lightyear is saying that the evil Emperor Zurg has constructed a weapon that can destroy an entire planet, and I alone have information that will reveal this weapon's only weakness, which is obviously the R2D2
Yeah.
Star Wars thing. So they're gonna do Toy Story 3, I guess, next year. Toy Story 5 next year, and they're
Oh,
getting
that's a
Tim Allen.
horrible idea.
They're doing getting Tim Allen back
Oh,
because the Buzz
yeah.
Lightyear with Captain America
Oh,
bombed.
right. I remember I remember this news now.
Hmm.
And everyone's like, but I hate Tim Allen because he's a conservative and it's all like, yeah, that's why they tried to recast Buzz Lightyear. And they tested the waters and saw how awful it was, and then they were like, you know what, we're tired of losing money on this shit, so let's just bring back the one that people like.
Actually, for the Buzz Lightyear TV show, which I watched when I was a kid, they got Patrick Warburton to do Buzz Lightyear, and that was actually fun.
Yes. I loved that one also, and based off of my age, that was actually when I first really started to enjoy Patrick Warburton because at that point he hadn't been in anything else that I had watched. But then he would go on to voice Joe Swanson in Family Guy, and Brock Sampson in The Venture Brothers.
Hmm.
Uh, he had an extremely minor bit role as Jay's rookie partner who gets neuralized in the beginning of Men in Black 2. Uh, he played the Tick in the live-action series of it, which was also really good. But, of course, it didn't last for all that long.
Did you ever see The Emperor's New
Um,
Groove?
yes.
Yeah, he's in that.
And he was Kronk, yeah.
Hmm.
That's one that a lot of people know him for.
You know, I only saw that movie
Definitely.
once. I don't remember it that well, but I remember
I have
him.
seen that movie many times.
Hmm.
It's definitely the most memorable character. It's all the best moments.
And he voiced Rip Riley in Archer. That was only like 3 episodes, I think, but he was good in that.
He very often does bit parts of stuff. Lord, that's not yet. Oh, son of a beach.
Yeah, I mean, Toy Story 4 was fun, but man, was it unnecessary. I mean, honestly, a lot of sequels are pretty unnecessary. It's a relatively modern invention to make a movie that plans to have a sequel before the movie is even finished.
Yeah, sequels used to be a sign of, like, creative bankruptcy. It used to be a bad thing to do a sequel.
Like, at the end of the original Back to the Future, when they have that little bit at the end where, like, Doc is like, Marty, you got to come to the future. It's your kids. That was a joke. They didn't think they were ever going to make a sequel. They just did that as a joke. And then the movie was a huge hit. They were like, oh shit, we have to make a sequel. And now we're going to have to go right after that scene. I don't know what to do in the future. Like, if you watch the documentaries for Back to the Future 2, um, they talk about how much they struggled figuring out what to do in the future because of the way they ended the first movie. And they really regretted having that gag scene where they locked themselves into what they had to do in part 2.
I really like the joke that Family Guy made when Doc was like, "It's your kids, Marty. Something's got to be done about your kids." Why, Doc? What's wrong with our kids? Your daughter marries a black man.
I remember that.
Doc, I don't really have a problem with that. Oh, you don't? No, no, Doc, I don't have a problem with that at all. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Did you know that peanut butter was invented by a black man? No, it's too late, Doc. We all learned something about you today.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty good.
Oh man,
Marty.
that's it.
Hmm. Like when George Lucas made the original Star Wars, I don't think he ever thought they were going to make a sequel, even though he had them planned. I'm sure he was like, which is why that movie is so well self-contained. Like if Star Wars the original movie never got a sequel, it would have stood fine on its own. First Terminator, if that movie didn't get a sequel, it would have been fine. Alien, same
Oh
thing.
yeah, if only the second Terminator movie never got a sequel.
Mhm. If the first Predator movie never got a sequel, like the first movie would have stood fine.
Yeah, every Predator sequel actually sucked ass. The second one didn't even make any fucking sense. Um, and they did Aliens versus Predator, which was god awful,
I
and
saw
then
that one in theaters.
they did Predators with there was a second Alien versus Predator movie too, which also sucked. Then they did Predators with Adrian Brody, which was like There were some hilarious moments. So like there were plenty of moments in that movie that were like, you know, meme worthy and stuff. But like the thing about Predator is the start to finish, it is an all time classic. It has some of the greatest memes that have ever been spawned in that movie. It's an all timer. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger classic. It literally didn't even need to be a franchise. It only was because it was so fucking popular because of how great Arnold was. Which is true of many franchises that should never have become franchises. But so then they did that, and then they did another Predators movie recently, which was also fucking god awful shit.
Oh, the Shane Black written one. That was the one with the really, really like there was a lot of controversy around that one because of the portrayal of autism. Like there's a kid in the movie who has autism and it's basically depicted as superpowers, which is not okay in current year.
Uh, Hilarious. Oh man, that's fantastic. No, but yeah, most of those Predator movies suck. Really bad.
Like think about like Terminator 5. They made that movie thinking, "Okay, we're going to make at least two sequels to this movie." It wasn't meant to be a standalone movie. It was meant to be the first movie in a trilogy. And then the movie sucked and no one liked it and then they were like, "I guess we have to cancel it." And now not only does the movie suck, it's not even really like there's no point to it existing because it didn't get the sequels that it was intended to have.
Which which one was the fifth one?
Genesis, the one with the chick from
Are
Game
are
of
you
Thrones.
okay? Yeah. Are you making a joke? Because that was Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis, but it's spelled in the title like Genesis.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying then. But yeah, chick from Game of Thrones. That it's really funny. I'm forgetting it. Amelia Clark. There we go. Amelia Clark. A lot of people fawn over her for her attractiveness, and she definitely did the right thing for her career, which was to do nude scenes early to get
Right?
people interested in her, and then to never do nude scenes again, because it did great things for her fucking career. She is not a good actress. She bless her heart, she's trying, but yeah, no. And the storyline is not interesting and none of that shit. They fucking horrible idea to try to build a Terminator movie around her being Sarah Connor, and like now they're retconning a billion different fucking things so that they can have old Arnold there and all this other shit. None of it made any fucking sense. Yeah, those movies sucked. And then they didn't even learn their lesson there, because then they did another fucking Terminator movie and they brought back the original Sarah Connor because they thought somehow that would work. Like, yeah, Amelia Clark failed to be the action star lead for this movie, but you know what would work? What if we brought back an 80-year-old woman to be the action star lead in this movie? Like, what the fuck? Why? Oh, God.
If anybody wants an RTX 3070 desktop like I have, there's an HP Envy on sale on Amazon for 1230. That is a pretty good price, admittedly. Although with crypto crashing.
$1,230.
Yeah.
Hey, crypto's actually recovering a lot because the dollar and banks are currently crashing. Have you actually seen how much crypto has recovered in the last week?
No. I'm gonna have to
Fucking
look into that.
bonkers, dude. Holy shit.
I have a vested interest in it though, so that's great news.
Okay, Bitcoin price in oh my god, in the last day has gone up 4,000.
Ooh, yes. I should have
In
bought
the
more. Let's
last
go.
in the last day, Bitcoin's gone up $4,000 in value. Ethereum has similarly had a huge fucking increase, of course, relative to things. 5 days. So on Friday the 10th, Ethereum was worth 1,379. Uh, Currently 1,681. Now, obviously, that's not as huge as Bitcoin's, but considering where Ethereum was at and that Ethereum is Bitcoin Junior, you know, it's the main crypto that is the Bitcoin alternative, that is really fucking good. Crypto's price is absolutely recovering because the dollar's in the middle of crashing hardcore, and with the banks failing, a lot of people, silver price is going way up, gold price is going way up. This is exactly what ends up happening when banks start collapsing. Is people are like, I need to find a way to put my money into something that they can't take from me.
Hmm. Well, as FDR proved, they can take your gold away from you.
Absolutely, yes. For those of you who don't know, during the Great Depression, when FDR was president, the government literally seized privately owned stores of gold. Uh, Private citizens that owned gold, they literally took it by force. They sent in the fucking army to take it from people because the government was still using gold as funds. That's how governments perform transactions back then. So they were like, the government needs money, so then they just took the shit by force. Um,
Hmm.
Very fun.
I kind of feel like I'm surprised more people didn't go over my dead body. You know, I'm sure some did.
It's, um,
Yeah, explain for the
uh,
folks at home what the fascism of FDR is.
the folks at home, what the Great Depression was.
Meaner than a concentration camp dog.
All right. She's got 30 minutes. You and I both know. Things can happen. Sector 00's in the center,
Yeah.
so it's the mirror tower, but I don't know how the mirror tower is.
Shake it, bake it, booty quake it, turn it around.
Wash anything that looks like a phallus, I guess.
The last Terminator was dog shit because it was woke, but I actually did love getting Linda Hamilton back again. I saw it. I don't remember it very well,
Hey,
honestly.
if you liked having Linda Hamilton back, that's fine. But having an 80-year-old woman be an action movie star, that's why I didn't like the Halloween movies that they've done recently. It's why I didn't like that Terminator movie. Like, stop insulting my intelligence, please.
Stop wasting my time. Stop it.
59 minutes. There we go. I think I found it. Because it says narrow tower over here, but it's not dirty. So it has to be something that looks like that then.
One after Magna Carta.
If I could ever make such a mistake. And he got that idiot at the coffee shop to lie for him. His name was Romeo Watson.
It's too bad that part wasn't in the movie because Alan Rickman saying Runald Waslib would have been pretty great.
Undoubtedly.
I know what a nickname is, Potter. See, that's why Harry's not in Ravenclaw. If he was smart, he would have just been like, Ron wrote it in there as a joke. Oh my god, it must be the world's smallest
Ugh.
speck of dirt in here somewhere. Oh, I see it. Yes.
The
Very nice.
world's tallest midget.
All right. Let's see what the last one is because this is I think the last one in the DLC pack. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's just one big statue thing. You want to try to finish it tonight? I got nowhere else to
Honestly,
be.
no.
Mhm.
I'm pretty power washed out right now.
All right, guys. So we're gonna leave this last one for uh,
Rainy
Thursday,
day.
probably.
Yuck, yuck, yuck.
However, looking at it, this is probably going to take us half an hour tops. Like, this is actually pretty small. So, odds are good that next time we play, we're going to knock this out in like 20 minutes, and then we might do like It Takes Two because we picked that up a while ago, and that's like supposed to be the greatest co op game of all time or whatever.
Okay, I'll work on installing that then.
Hmm. Explain for the folks at home what installing is. Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I will be online tomorrow morning at about 9 o'clock, is the plan. Hope to see you guys there. I will be getting out of here. See you guys sometime tomorrow.
Let me